Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today, entitled Mom Betrays the Whole Family and Ruins My Dad Financially. After that, entitled Mom Tries to Take My Suitcase, Fails Horribly. After that, Are You Colorblind? And after that, We Aren't a Bookstore. Now, Karen assured me if we can hit 1,000 thumbs ups on this video, she will go a whole week without trying to talk to anybody's manager. So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. And if you want a message from Karen, visit Mr. Reddit on Fiverr, link below. Entitled Mom Betrays the Whole Family and Ruins My Dad Financially. Well, where do I start? I can't really complain about my childhood, but behind the facade, some things went wrong. There were some money and trust incidents that have caused me not to keep in touch with my mother for 12 years. Context: my father always went to work while my mother raised me and my two younger siblings. My father was a simple construction worker and has always worked hard for his money. We're talking about herniated discs and arthros hard. My father officially earned $30,000 a year after taxes and insurance. Unofficially, probably a little more. My grandfather had a small construction company, 20 employees, and a large house with generous property, which my parents inherited. The house was worth about $350,000 at that time, fully paid off. The story. When I was about 12 years old, my grandfather had already passed away. We had to sell the house. No one could tell us kids why. We probably would not have understood it anyways. We moved into a small house for rent and took a vacation, which costs a fraction of the house's worth. That's what we thought, at least. But as it turned out, the holiday costs were all that was left from selling the house. Of course, we liked the holiday very much, and we wanted to go there again next year. My father said that was no problem and started to save for the holiday. The next year, day of the flight. Luggage packed. Flight tickets in an envelope on the table, we thought. My mother, gone. My father, visibly nervous because my mother isn't there. The flight leaves without us. My father opens the envelope. Inside, a letter. My mom's handwriting. Hey, listen up. We weren't able to pay for the holiday, and I am leaving you. We were devastated. A few weeks passed. My parents somehow got back together again. Everything seemed to become normal again. My father was mistrustful, opened a savings account without my mother's knowledge. My siblings and I wanted a game console. The decision was between N64 and Sega Dreamcast. Because the games were cheaper, we opted for the Dreamcast. My father took us to the flea market so we could sell all our toys to earn money for the Dreamcast. We owned it for about 6 months until it disappeared in a mystical way. A few years later, after my confirmation, age of 13 or 14. To my confirmation, I got about €500. It was not much, but enough to buy me a shirt that I wanted unconditionally, a Nokia 3310, and there were still about €350 left. I keep these in my room. One day, I forgot my mobile phone at home. When I came home, I couldn't find it anymore. It has disappeared until today. At the time the Nintendo GameCube was released, I wanted to buy it with my money, so I went to my hiding place. Empty. I asked my siblings if they had taken it. They would never do such a thing, but I asked anyway. They didn't have it, of course, but they didn't make any purchases that could have been made with that money. So I asked my parents. My father was completely astonished. My mother was very angry. The money has not reappeared until today. I started delivering newspapers to earn money for GameCube. Some years later, I'm in the age of 16 now. We move again. This time, an even smaller flat. Life is okay-ish. We don't have money for fun things like cinema, but we don't need to starve. Summer holidays, my last year of high school, age 16 to 17. My father wants to go with us to the amusement park. My mother has no desire. She loves amusement parks. So my dad drives us kids alone. He stops at the bank, wants to withdraw money from the savings account. Empty. He asks the bank how that can be. They tell him that married couples, despite password protection, always have access to savings accounts. First of the month, plus euro. Third of the month, negative euro. My dad's upset. We kids are disappointed. We go home. My mother is gone. Her answering machine. Don't even try. I'm dead for you. My father changes the door lock. I accompany him to the authorities and bank because he can often be hot-headed when he is nervous and we need solutions. We get many things under control. I learn to cook, to wash the laundry properly, to actually throw the whole household. I'm good with numbers, and I'm going to take care of the finances. It doesn't look good, but we can do it. My youth is over. I don't blame my dad for that. One night, it's still holidays, I hear a cough in the garden. I think nothing of it, then again the cough, then again. I go out, follow the cough. There lies my mother, sleeping in the shed covered with a towel. She wakes up, sees me, and leaves. That was the last time I saw her. In the following months, we get many letters from lawyers and courts about unpaid bills. My father has to file for bankruptcy. One evening, men dressed in black are standing in front of our door, armed with clubs. My 12-year-old sister was in huge fear. Reminder, my father worked on a construction site. He didn't let himself be intimidated. My dad was okay. I didn't see what happened exactly. If he tells the truth, he jumped out of the car the second he saw them, grabbing a tool from work, and being a behemoth, he had quite a good position to bargain. Perhaps the guys were the first warning with no intention of physical harm. We paid the debt we owed the guys. My mom tried to get in contact with me and my siblings for some time. My sister even moved in with her at one point. I can even understand why my sister did that. Living with men can be rough, especially when money is tight and you're a young girl with problems. Sometimes I think I am way too hard for not wanting contact because she is my mom. And on the other hand, I think, forget her. She betrayed you, your dad, and your siblings. Some more info. The money probably went to gambling. We can't tell for sure, but some people reported seeing her leaving casinos. I didn't talk to my mom in the past 12 years. My dad, my siblings, and myself are all good. We really bonded over that story. My dad could have an easier life. He is retired now. It's hard sometimes without savings. We help as much as we can. I have some trust issues. I don't believe in marriage anymore. My beloved girlfriend suffers from that here and there. I am sorry for her. Some more info, legal charges. We thought about suing her. When the worst part was over, my dad and I visited a lawyer to get some vision about our chances. Turns out we had 0 chances. Where I live, married couples own everything together, if there is no contract. So my dad's money is my mom's money and the other way around. Everyone can spend the money on whatever they like. It gets worse. Because my dad worked and my mom was a stay-at-home mom, she can legally demand some of his annuity when she retires. Next we've got Entitled Mom Tries to Take My Suitcase, Fails Horribly. Last weekend, I decided to take a little break from my routine and fly over to Bali for the short weekend. I was in the airport lining up to check in when someone screamed in Indonesian, "Someone stop her!" I look and she has my suitcase, but she fell over hard. Now here's the thing, I'm not a regular guy to carry small stuff, especially for a weekend. And just to note, my suitcase was about 18 kilograms, so there's a woman screaming, clenching in pain, and I go over there and grab my suitcase back and she screams at me. Characters. We've got Entitled Mom, Entitled Mom's son, he was not entitled. We've got bystanders 1, 2, and 3. We've got security and me. Note, this is all translated from Indonesian to English. Entitled Mom. You, stay away from my suitcase. Me. This is mine, ma'am. No, it's not. It's my son's. I was getting it back for him. Me. Miss, I highly doubt this is— No, it does belong to him, you inbred pig. Bystander 1. Miss, there is no need for the rough language. Bystander 2. I saw him carrying it out of the taxi. Bystander 3. I saw him next to it. Entitled Mom gets up and straight up slaps me hard. Entitled Mom. You pig! You stole my son's bag and you're claiming it's yours. She grabs my suitcase. Give it to me now. I demand you give it this instant. Okay. I let go and she falls over. Assault! Assault! You saw him, right? Points at a kid who is no older than 3. Some bystanders tried to help her up, but she kicked one of them in the shin. Get off me! Then a teenager comes up to her and says, Mommy, what are you doing? Sweetie! Me, internally. Sweetie? I was fetching your suitcase. It's this one, right? Entitled Mom's son. No, mine is here. I accidentally left it in the bathroom. Oh, okay then. Let's go. Then a man grabs her shoulders. Whoa there, Missy. You aren't going anywhere. It was the airport security, and coincidentally, he is my uncle. Security. Hey, OP, how's it going? Ma'am, I need you to come with me.
What? What did I do?
Well, you just assaulted verbally and physically towards OP as well as other bystanders. Come with me, and let's not make this harder.
But I did nothing wrong.
Several bystanders went against Entitled Mom, telling her to go with security. Entitled Mom's son. Oh man, Mom. Again?
I'm sorry, sweetie.
Ugh. Entitled Mom leaves, and that was the last time I saw her. I checked in and enjoyed my weekend. Next we've got, are you colorblind? So I live within walking distance of a ski resort that has a village. I ski, I eat, I have friends there, so I am usually a few times a day at minimum, even when not skiing. One very busy Saturday morning, I was walking through the village, saying hi to friends and employees while walking so I can meet a friend for breakfast. Don't ski on a Saturday unless that is the only day you can. And I'm just avoiding the rental line when I hear an "Excuse me" behind me. Thinking nothing of it, I just keep walking along until someone grabs my shoulder. I spin around to see this really upset-looking Karen. Now, as skiers usually know, at most mountains, all employees wear the same brand of clothing, sometimes all the same color, sometimes 2 to 3 different colors, depending on which department you work in. I am wearing the same brand of clothing, but not in a color at this resort. Karen.
I need you to help me get my kids past this stupid rental line. They have a lesson in 20 minutes.
Me. I don't work here, just walking to meet a friend for breakfast.
You obviously do. I saw you talking to other people who work here.
Me. I am here a lot, so obviously I know people here, but I do not work here.
I know you do. You are wearing the same clothing brand just like everyone else.
Grabs me.
Come help my kids.
Me, pulling away. Get your hands off me. I do not work here. Find someone who does, but I doubt anyone would want to help a jerk like you. It's your fault that you got here so late. No one else's. Walking away.
I am going to find a manager and get you fired, you jerk.
Good luck with that. I'll be at this restaurant if you want to humiliate yourself further. Everyone in line was looking at her. I walk off towards my destination and run into a friend who works at the mountain, rushing in that direction. Me. Hey, friend. Friend. What's going on over there? Sounds like someone was upset. Yeah, some woman thought I worked here and went off on how she was going to get me fired because I won't help her. I'm sure she will be looking for a manager. I would avoid her at all costs. Friend. Probably a good idea. Let a boss deal. Friend heads back to where he is supposed to be handing out trail maps and answering questions about 300 feet from the lady. I head in and get 2 bar stools for me and my buddy. We get coffee and breakfast and are catching up. About 30 minutes after sitting down while we are eating breakfast, I hear,
"Over there, that's him."
Karen comes over, grabs my shoulder again and spins my bar stool, spilling the coffee I'm drinking all over me and my friend's breakfasts. She is there with the manager of security. Manager of security whose kid happens to be besties with my middle kid, Karen.
"This is the rude jerk who wouldn't help me. You need to get him fired."
Me, staring daggers straight into her eyes. Wait for it. I did actually say this. Security. He doesn't work here. He lives here.
Well, you should ban him for being so rude and calling me a jerk.
Me. If the shoe fits. You are the one who should be banned from here. You have grabbed me 3 times now. The 3rd time you ruined mine and my friend's breakfast. You really are a jerk. That totally set her off. She was spouting that she was here on vacation and deserved respect for all the money she was spending for her family. Security. Now, we don't like to ban people here. This is a place where everyone should be having fun. Now, if you pay to replace the breakfasts and calmly leave, we can all just go about our days. This guy is super chill. Karen.
There is no way I am paying anything for someone who called me a jerk.
Okay, I'm going to have to ask you to leave our property immediately.
I can't do that. I have to wait for my husband and kids to finish skiing.
Security. That is not an option. You need to leave now. This is private property.
This is not private property, and I am not leaving.
Security. Moves dial on radio. I need you to come to the restaurant.
Oh, are you calling some buddies? I see how all of this works. You all just friends here, aren't you? And you just hate all the tourists. I pay your salary.
In walk two of the local sheriff deputies. They always have a couple at the mountain on the weekends in case of accidents, drunks, etc. They're not usually needed this early in the morning. They walk up to security and he begins explaining the story.
Karen, they are all lying. They're all friends and just protecting each other.
Bartender, I saw her grab him. You can also watch it on the security camera if you want. Police, you grabbed him?
I only grabbed his shoulder to get his attention.
Me, 3 times, with a total grin on my face. Police, grabbing someone with intent is assault. Would you like to press charges? Me, actually, yes, I would. Karen starts screeching as they grab her and cuff her up. Luckily, she didn't put up too much of a fuss. I was going to decide to drop the charges after I watched her get perp walked through the village. So with bartender holding our seats and the kitchen remaking our breakfast, which would be 15 to 20 minutes, my buddy and I followed the 2 sheriffs and Karen getting walked in cuffs through the village with thousands of people watching. Busy weekends, we would get at least 10,000 skiers and boarders. The restaurant and where the sheriffs park are on almost opposite ends, so we had to pass the rental shop. Cue new character, Cool Dad. Cool Dad, you are the guy from earlier. What happened? I explained the situation and told him I was waiting until she was in the sheriff's SUV to tell the sheriff I had changed my mind on pressing charges. I told him she really needed a lesson and hopefully this would be a good one. He asked where I was going to be after he got his kids to their lesson, late. We told him. I walked over and let the sheriff know I changed my mind about not pressing charges and anything else is between him and security. Buddy and I headed back to the restaurant and shortly afterwards, Cool Dad shows up. Cool Dad, I cannot apologize enough for my wife. I remember this verbatim. When one little thing does not go right, the world has to pay. Not just me and my kids, but the whole world. Do you guys want a drink or a shot? I sure as heck need one. So a couple of bloodies and shots later, my buddy and I have become friends with Cool Dad. Turns out, Karen doesn't even like skiing and just sits reading a book while he and his 2 kids ski, but always insists on coming to the mountain and wearing her really expensive ski clothing to look the part. The reason Karen was on the warpath and they were late to the mountain, she couldn't find her favorite hat at the condo that morning. Ran into him and his kids later that week and did some laps with them, and they took me and 2 of my kids to lunch. Whole family was cool except for Karen. Next we've got, we aren't a bookstore. Background. I work at a warehouse store that requires a membership to shop. We have a table in the middle of the store that holds books, anything from novels to kids' picture books. The section isn't huge, but that's not our primary focus as a business, so it's not a big deal. Cast. We've got me. We've got coworker 1. She's in her 20s. Coworker 2. She's in her 50s. We've got asset protection manager, happened to be manager on duty on the night this story takes place. And we've got angry old guy. The story. This happens over the course of 2 nights, a Tuesday and a Thursday, starting when I got back from my break on Tuesday. Coworker 2 hanging up the phone. Wow. Me. What happened? Coworker 2. This guy wants to know why we don't sell a certain book, telling me that it's on the New York Times bestseller list, so we should sell it, and he's mad that we don't. Me. He knows that hourly employees don't control ordering, right? I guess not. I tried to tell him that, but he wasn't having it. We left a note for anyone else at the desk with his name and what he was looking for in case one of us wasn't there and if he decided to call back. We assumed that was the end of it, until Thursday night. I'm at the customer service desk again with someone else this time. A man, angry old man, walks in and goes up to coworker 1. The following is a piece of the conversation I heard between helping other customers. Angry old guy. This book is on the New York Times bestseller list. Why don't you guys carry it? Coworker 1 wasn't on the night that he called the first time, so this was our first interaction with him. I was helping another customer at this point, but I can only assume that he demanded to speak to the manager because manager came down from her office about a minute later. She used to work in receiving, so she's probably more knowledgeable about the ordering process than most of the other managers. Manager. Hi, how can I help you? Angry old guy pulling out a sheet of paper. Look at this. This is the bestseller list. You guys carry number 9 on that list.
But this book is number 4, and you don't have it. Why is that?
Manager: Unfortunately, I don't really have an answer. We don't handle ordering at the store level. Not even the general manager can control that. That's all processed through our home office. Angry old guy repeats himself again, clearly very angry that we don't sell this book. He went back and forth with manager for 5 minutes about this, despite her trying to explain that she couldn't decide what we ordered. Eventually, she's had enough. Manager: If I talk to the regional manager, I'll try to find out what the ordering process is and mention that we have customers looking for this book. As of right now, all I'm able to do is mention it to them and hope that they decide to order it. Angry old guy finally leaves. Manager stays and talks to coworker 1 and I for a little while. I explain that he's the same person who called and screamed at coworker 2 over the phone 2 days prior. What I really don't get is that we aren't a bookstore, nor do we claim to be. Some people will just never be happy, I guess. And shoutouts to our Regenerals of the day: Detonator Oregon, Jissy Spider, WR Girly 86, and Mikasa. Become tomorrow's Regenerals by leaving as many rees as you can in the comments below.